Hey, welcome to Reestablishment. I'm your host, Bodie DeAndre, as I always am. And it's good to have you with us today. One of our sponsors is actually our guest today, and he happens to be my brother-in-law. So Man360.com or Man360.TV, you can catch him through CTN Online. They also have a Man360 podcast. You can also stream them. There's a lot of different ways, but what's really cool, Man360 is a show for men, about men, doing manly things.
Oh, yes.
So I'm glad to have my brother-in-law, Brian Morris. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Bodie. Appreciate
So
it.
you've been a sponsor, but now you're actually
For real.
on-air talent.
Yes.
You're a real person.
Yes.
So we'll talk a little bit about us, and then I really want to focus on Man360, your ministry, what you're doing.
Yeah.
So Brian and I hit it off pretty good when he married my sister. I really didn't give a lot of pushback to her. Some of the other people she dated.
And being in the police force, that
Yeah,
could
being
have been a little more than pushback.
Being an older brother, I kind of inserted myself. But I really didn't with you. And we're a lot alike as far as we can act goofy. We can be impulsive on fun things.
Mm-hmm.
We like the outdoors. We're both very avid outdoorsmen.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in Montana, lived a lot in Colorado, Wyoming, Washington, Florida here.
Yep.
So we're both big outdoorsmen, and we tend to see the world the same, but from different viewpoints. But we see it the same way. So I
Right.
think that's why we get along great.
Right.
And we would rather have fun than anything else
Right.
because we believe that God has given us a life of purpose,
Right.
and that life should be fun.
Right.
It should be enjoyable and fun-filled. And so whenever we get together, we just pick up where we left off, and we usually do some kind of crazy thing where my wife and my sister just scratch their heads and go, seriously? But that's kind of who we are and how
right.
we are. Brian, I'll talk about him a little bit, has gone through some personal trials in his life, wrote a book about it, which I think is a funny title.
Yes.
Say it.
Holy crap, finding God's presence in your pain.
Holy crap, finding God's presence in your pain. And highly encourage you, if you're going through a difficult time, if you need encouragement, if you need to see how somebody else stood and walked in faith when the doctor said this is not a good outcome, and watch the turnaround, this is the book for you. Or you need to reach out to Man360 and connect with Brian, and he'll get you some resources. But that was a trying, 7-8 years of your life?
Yeah, it was I think it was 5 total, so it was 4 going through everything.
But then
with
it
the
came
eye.
back for a short time
Yeah.
later,
Yep.
and then we overcame that again. So I think
Yeah.
total 6-7 years
Yeah,
of your
probably.
life?
Yeah, it's been off and on. There's a couple different flare-up times with my eye that I had to go back to the doctor, and it wasn't as bad where it went to the back of the eye again because it actually partially detached my retina in my left eye. Didn't get that bad again, but it was enough to scare you and kind of put the fear of God back in you to be like, what is going on? And I
Yeah.
didn't think I was ever afraid of anything, and then I realized that I'm afraid of going blind when you get to that point.
Just to be honest,
yeah,
that's an honest assessment.
yeah,
And that's where the holy crap came from. When your life crashes down around you and you're given a bad diagnosis.
yeah,
I tell people all the time, the diagnosis, what they told you is true. That is a true report.
yeah,
It's the best that science knows, but it's not truth. God is truth.
right.
And God said, I'll take that true report and I'll top it. And that's basically what he did. So today, I want to encourage you, this is part of what we do here at Reestablishment, is reestablishing fundamentals for lives. And, if you're in a situation, no matter what it is, doesn't have to be physical, and you've had a report, the issues of life, relationships, whatever,
Yeah.
there is a truth that is higher than what you're going through. And that is the truth we rest in. So, holy crap, that great book. I encourage you to get a copy of it. It will absolutely bless you, and it will encourage you for whatever you're going through.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward now to you were a station manager for a while in Colorado,
Yep.
in Wyoming. And then when your father-in-law, my dad, passed away, the board brought you in as a vice president.
Yep.
And you've had several different roles, and you moved in them well. And then you wanted to start this thing called Man360. Tell me the genesis of that and what all that is.
So Yolanda and I had been, pastors for a long time. We've been in ministry for, married 30 years, probably even before that. We were working together in Springfield with Doyle Robinson. So we were already doing ministry for a long time. And, we've always seen that deficiency in men's mentorship and just even for entertainment for men. It was always either, remember Spike TV and some of these other ones that had to be kind of like more blue, and it had to have like the bikinis and all the other stuff in it. And it was like, there's just not something there for men that's entertaining, but also helps them just to consider where they are with God.
Right.
And, Yolanda and I had talked about that, and it was like even being so busy with everything else, and we actually had started the program even when we were managers in Denver. So even before the transition with everything with executive leadership. But, it was just something where we felt like it was such a deficiency. And since we were able to do, whatever we wanted to do, that's one thing that Dad really let us do, is minister how we feel like we need to minister, and not just locally, but also nationally. And we had mentioned the idea to Dad, and he's like, yeah, we can play it around the network, so. But yeah, it was just really a heart to try to help men to be entertained, but also to be able to educate them in biblical truths. We've dealt with things like racism. We've dealt with, we had Michael Whittington was one of the guests on the program, and he had a guy that had contacted him from Las Vegas, and Michael had come out of a homosexual lifestyle, and he was actually prostituting himself for drugs, and really just terrible. Came out of all of that. This guy had heard his story from Las Vegas, contacted him and said, hey, I just really need a mentor, and Michael helped walk that guy out of some of the things that he was dealing with. So, it's not just all fun and games, although you and I
have
had some fun.
You've had rappers on there. Yeah. You've had the guy that has the best mustache wax.
Yeah.
So these are all,
I used some this morning. So
yeah, these are all
I need to
topics
get you some, actually.
Yeah. My wife asked me to grow this out.
I know. She
So,
asked, and
if
Yolanda tells me to cut mine, and Michelle tells you to grow yours out.
If y'all don't like it, tell me. I'm flexible.
And he'll ignore it. It's
I'll
okay.
ignore it. So,
yeah.
What's interesting is about the same time that you started this program, God was working on other people, and some very similar ministries started popping up at the same time for men. Same exact thing. And we've, I say we, this ministry and others have begun partnering with some of these other ones.
Yep.
And what's interesting is there's not one way to reach all men.
Right.
Everybody's a little different. Some guys are city slickers. Some guys are country bumpkins.
Yeah.
Some guys are like us, are kind of a hybrid.
You're like I would consider you like a Denver Sheplers kind of guy.
Yeah,
like you still go to Sheplers to get your country western wear, but you still like the big city because
I live near the
Tampa.
water.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable on the beach.
Yeah.
And
I'd rather be in the mountains than on the beach, though. But that's where we're.
And I do snow skis, so we like that crossover. And as he was saying a minute ago, we've done some goofy things. If you want to see me be really humbled, the time we did the aerial yoga. It's just
we probably need to tell them what this is. So we have a segment of the program called "Things Brian Doesn't Want to Do," and since your sister, my wife, is my executive producer, she
enlisted me as the fall guy.
Yeah, and it's so funny because she's like, "Well, I'm going to ask Bodie to do this," and I was like, "I don't know if he's going to." She's like, "Oh, he'll do it," and I was like, "Okay, well, I guess there's some more pull that you have on Bodie." So. Yeah, we did aerial yoga. I think that was 2 seasons ago.
So if you ever have watched where these ladies do this, and men too, they get these silks hung from a ceiling.
Well, we were, but everyone else there was a woman, but that's besides the point.
and they do these gymnastics while holding these silks.
Right.
We thought it'd be a good idea because there's a structured yoga class. I'd only done yoga once before while I was on military out in California. And it was a nightmare. They wanted me to do my Warrior 3 pose. I didn't even know I had one. And so we're sweating and it was a nightmare. So we did this aerial yoga thing and these ladies were just so graceful flying around. I'm upside down, falling out, hitting my head.
They were Cirque du Soleil. We were just the circus.
We were just the circus. We did our I don't know why. This is Yolanda's idea.
They're all Yolanda's
We got
idea.
our eyebrows threaded. I
Yeah.
will never do that again.
Yeah.
For every woman that threads your eyebrows,
No.
my hat's off to you.
And it was
We're not
funny
doing
was
that
that
again.
when Bodie, we were walking down the mall, we were at the mall and walking down Yolanda, and Bodie goes, "Hey Yolanda, how many times have you ever had your eyebrows threaded?" Yolanda goes, she starts laughing first and she says never.
Yeah.
And Bodie's like, and Bodie's forehead was all completely red, like looked like somebody slapped him 50 times. And he had these two little micro thin brows. I
Yeah.
think she took off too much eyebrow. They all grew back, but
And I
it
ended
was funny.
up breaking the thread.
Yeah, she was.
My
she goes,
eyebrows are so
I
thick.
said, I told Bodie, I was like, Bodie, you're so strong, because he's like Mr. Military and weight room and everything. I was like, he's so strong, even his hairs on his forehead are strong. It was hilarious.
The other one we did that was we've done paddleboarding.
Yep.
We-
Pedicures, but you like pedicures. I don't like my feet being touched.
I like a
It was
pedicure
bad.
once in a while,
No.
and I tell you why. It's a chance for me to sit and detach from phones and just relax.
That's not true though.
Well, that's not true. 'Cause
Let's
I'm on
be
my phone.
honest, because I asked you, I
Okay,
said, "Is
so-
this your mobile office?" And you're like,
Well, yeah, I do.
yeah.
I kind
asked-
of like
yeah.
it. But here's the funniest thing.
Let's not lie to our audience members here.
So
that are
I've been
listening.
going probably once a month to this location, and they do a good job. Brian goes the first time in his life, gets a pedicure. They overfill the tank and
Right.
flood the floor with water, and they've never done that.
And I
don't
thought-
know
yeah.
what kind of a.
And
what-
it was the one on the end. It was the
Yeah.
tank on the end. If you watch the episode, it's in the first season. I think it's the first program of the first season. And I'm sitting there and I look down and my feet are already kind of starting to turn red because the water's really, really hot. And I'm like, okay, I guess this is normal. And then the water's flowing over the bowl and we're all, it's for television, right? We're goofing around. We're like, hey, this is fun. This is funny. And I go, the water is overflowing on my bowl. What do I do? Because everybody's just looking around.
We had them in stitches.
It was so funny.
And they
Luann, is that
yeah.
that was our
They absolutely
foot
loved
specialist?
it. They did not ask if you were coming back.
No, they didn't. Well,
No.
and you were asked. I asked you what foot massage you were getting,
Yeah.
and then yours was more expensive than mine. So I said, give him the happy feet, and so I was like, I want whatever Bodie's
Yeah,
getting.
happy
I said
feet.
Bodie's a really good tipper, So at the end of it, because I said, and I told him you're paying because
Yeah.
you're the one that brought me into this. So
So we had a good
Yeah.
time. And you know what it is? It's all about fellowship. And, the Bible says iron sharpens iron. And we do. I can tell you as brother-in-laws,
yeah,
we do sharpen each other. There's been times when we've called each other, and we'll talk about this quickly, only because I only want to talk about it quickly, is both of us have lost our fathers
yeah,
within the last 3 years. His more recently. And so we really had to lean on each other during these times. And yet we didn't step on each other because we both process grief differently. And we acknowledge that. And so we reached out and let the other one dictate how much or how little
yeah,
that we would get involved. And so that's something that brought us closer together where we totally understand each other. A lot of times people say, well, you've never been through what I have to go through, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be pulled to your level.
right,
I don't have to go down to where you are to make me
Right.
better.
right,
How about you've never lived like I live,
right,
where God has showed me a life of triumph and victory?
yeah,
How about you look up to what God can give you
right,
and not try to pull me down to your level? But I think on this, we absolutely were empathetic to each other and what we were going through.
yeah,
And we did it within 2 years apart. And so I think as men, it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to be a manly man.
Well,
and
you
s-
said something
and st-
important too.
Yeah,
Bo.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
Is that I think for men, it's good to let the other guy, especially if you're communicating guy to guy, let the guy know you're there, and then give them space to communicate back to you if they want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think in the female to male or female to female world, and this is completely sounds like a sexist statement. I don't know what a woman feels like because I'm a guy.
Right.
Identify as a man.
Right.
Is that we need to be able to have that ability to process the way that we process, but know that there's a support system when we need to reach out to someone.
Yeah.
And to know that it's okay to reach out and not feel like you're being weak, right? I think
Right.
especially like your military background and some of the other things too in the police department, some of that training, and I think you kind of had to we talked about that when you came off the battlefield. You kind of had to rewire your brain
Yeah.
to operate kind of quote unquote like a normal person in
So
culture again.
if you're a first responder or you work a very dangerous job,
There's a disconnect, right?
that has a lot of emotions. What
Yeah.
you do is you build up walls, defensive walls,
Yeah.
not because you want to be detached. That's how you're able to function.
Right.
You know, when you're in a battle, war is war. Those of you that are veterans know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing more base than humans killing humans. It is
Yeah.
should always be the last resort. It is the most atrocious thing. But to do your job effectively, you have to build up walls to be able to function in that realm.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I look like I'm detached, but I do that to function. I remember one time dealing with a situation, and I dealt with it perfectly. I mean, even afterwards, I thought, did I do that right? And I did. But when I went home, I walked in the door, collapsed on the bed, and started crying.
Mm.
That's when
Yeah.
my guard was down now. I
Yeah.
did what I had to do,
Yeah.
and I did it to the best of my ability. And now I come home and I go, oh my God. It had to do with a teenage kid,
Mm-hmm.
and it just broke my heart. And so it's okay for men to build up walls to function in certain areas,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to know when to let that down.
Yeah, you can't keep those. You,
You
can't
can't
keep
live-
that compartmentalization.
You can't live like that
Like,
24/7.
Right.
And you have to learn how to flow in and out of that. But the thing about Man360 that I really like is it's not, number one, it's not preachy. It doesn't tell you what you should or shouldn't do. It says this is an
Unless
option.
it's Yolanda telling us what to do.
Well, that's true.
But then that's a woman telling two guys what to do. So, and she's
And
the
you-
president too. So,
And we rebel.
and we were back.
but what it is it's showing men there are other things you can do. A lot of times men get in their own rut. Well, I've always been this way. That's the way my dad was.
Yeah.
Way my grandfather was.
Yep.
This is how I act. And your program gives people a chance to see how other men are.
Yeah.
And there may be things you want to try you've never done before.
Well, and
I'm
there's,
not saying aerial yoga.
yeah. No,
But-
no, don't do aerial yoga. Wait,
But
Bodie and
there
I
may
can.
be there may be other areas of your life
Yeah.
that you need to foster, whether it's character building.
Mm-hmm.
There may be other superhero things that you have in your life that you haven't developed yet.
Yeah.
And so I think Man360 is a good outlet for that.
Yeah.
And we want to encourage, and here's the other thing too. I don't know how much you talk about this, but I've had a couple folks that are women tell me they watch your program to learn about their husband more
Yeah.
and or to encourage your husband to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough entertainment value, and this is one way that we promote the program as well, even for specifically for men, but also for families, is that there's enough entertainment in there that if you have a non-Christian, really girl or guy, but if you have a non-Christian male friend that doesn't really even know about God, it's like I feel that humor is one of the best ways that, and we don't use that enough in Christian TV. I really feel too, because our message is so serious, right? It's your eternity. But we don't utilize some of the gifts that God's given us in humor and disarming people to be able to really speak truth to them. You know, so you can invite anybody that, you know, just wants to watch something funny. It's more of a variety show, really. You know, we do
Right.
some of the interviews and stuff too. But I really feel like that too. And we've had women actually, which is hysterical. We've had general managers, their wives have said, you know, I love when's your next season coming out, Brian? And I'm like, okay, well, it's a men's program. They're like, we just want to see what you and Bodie are going to do, or what Yolanda's going to make you and Bodie do in this next season. And
I
we're
think
like,
we
well,
have, is it goat yoga coming up?
there's goat yoga, and then there's one more that I'm not going to say what it is.
No,
but
we'll
it's
wait and
it's
see,
probably
but-
for season 6.
Yeah,
so,
it's-
yeah.
It's going to be nuts. I do it just, it gets me out of the office.
Oh, is that your reason?
It gets us out of the office.
And you don't want to get written up by
I don't wanna get written
by the
up by my
president of the
sister. Yeah.
of the network.
So, you know, here's the thing. Reestablishment is here for a purpose, and that's to bring people back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
And let's start with the ground up, and let's stop trying to push things on people and let good, wholesome things bubble up from the ground,
Yeah.
so people can be strong on their own and find a better and a higher way of living. And I think that's really, really important. Brian, before we go,
Yeah.
what I'd like you to do is, if you have an idea for Man360, or,
Unless it's the things Brian doesn't want to do that you don't want me to do, because Yolanda will never listen to this podcast. I will never let her. I'll just qualify that. Now continue, Bodie.
so how can they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me by talking to Yolanda. No, you can go to man360.tv. There's a contact us tab on there that you can send me an email.
Yep.
Those go directly to my personal CTN email. And then ctnonline.com obviously has some other men-focused programs
Yes.
and other, we have such a great variety, 15 or 16 programs that we just promote or produce
From
just
hunting
from
and
CTN.
fishing to yours to,
Yep,
we have another one that you and I are working with behind the scenes. Hopefully that will
yep,
manifest in March
yep.
of this coming year. And so what we want to do is get all these groups together. I said this recently in an open forum, and I want to close with this. And that is, if you've never heard, I was at a men's conference, and I said it from the platform. If you've never heard 2,000 men sing in one voice, there's not a sound on the planet that rivals that.
Yeah.
I remember in the military singing a military song in formation of 600 people in a battalion formation, and all chanting and all singing. We were preparing to go into battle in Iraq, and I remember a battalion formation, and to get 600 men's voices come together, there's not a sound on the earth that is impressive.
Yeah.
When it's all in unified.
And ominous, like that sound
it
is
is.
so,
But I was at this
authoritative.
men's conference, and they were singing, and there was probably 3,000 men there, and I'm thinking, and I told them, you guys, I wish you were standing up here to hear yourself.
Yeah.
That mountains can be moved, things can be changed, nations can be changed.
Yep.
So if you can do all of that with a group of men that can consolidate together on foundational principles, think about how easy it is for your family to change, for your kids to change, your business to change.
Yep.
But you have to do it as a unified body and as a group. And so Man360 does that. Brian, thanks for being on.
Thanks, Bodie.
It's so good to have you finally.
Yes, sir.
You're not just a sponsor now, you're a guest.
Oh, excellent. I'll be back then.
And you're still my brother. So, hey, thanks for joining us today. Check it out, man360.tv, or you can reach out to ctnonline.com and get a hold of us here at Reestablishment or through the Christian Television Network. Hey, have a great day, looking up higher and deeper with God.
This episode of Reestablishment is brought to you by Man360 TV, a show for men about manly things. Check it out, Man360 TV.
Reestablishment.